was found a little bald patch at the back of my head. Your mind goes into overdrive.
I didn't know what I was doing with it, so I was like, I didn't know which way it went on or anything. I was like, does the sticky bit go here or there?
Oh shit, am I gonna end up looking like you? And they dropped me and they said, actually,
oh wow,
this isn't gonna be for us. And I was devastated.
At what point did you tell him you were wearing a wig?
Sit down and have me completely honest with you. And I was like, sorry, what?
I'm Michael Douglas and I've been working with women and their hair for over 35 years. I know just how important hair is to you and how it makes you feel about yourself. And that's why I've invited some brilliant women into my studio in Soho to tell me about their life, the challenges they've faced and how I can help them make the most of their hair. So keep watching for great stories, tons of hair tips, techniques and advice. This is Hair Stories, where hair meets life.
My name is Amber. I am originally from Ireland, but I've been living in London now 10 years. I lost my hair when I was 15 years old due to alopecia, which basically means that my body doesn't have a single hair. I really struggled. Growing up in Ireland at that time, there was no good places to get wigs. It was really difficult to find any kind of community or get advice. I'm now 32 years old, so I've been living as a hair-free woman for 16 years, so I've kind of gotten to a really good place with it, but it's taken such a long time. A couple of years ago, really during COVID, I kind of just felt enough was enough. The hair suppliers that I was going to for years, I just felt weren't good enough. I just thought I have to do something about this. Amberjean launched as a website at the beginning. It was 2 years in February we opened our first kind of Amberjean space, really giving women wigs that I never knew existed and giving them modern wigs and actually giving them, just tangible emotional support, which I just think didn't really exist. I would have just loved to have had someone who was able to give me a wig that just looked like hair, just a really good hairpiece that looks like me. And I'm just so excited for Michael to be able to kind of get his hands through the wigs, to be able to make them look even more beautiful than they are, and it should be good fun.
Oh my goodness, I am so happy that you've come in today for about 10 different reasons. Now normally when people sit in the chair, I instantly play with their
I know, I was about to say, what are you going to do now?
It feels like a much more intimate thing to do, to touch your actual skin.
For so long, I think my head was so vulnerable, and having anyone touch it or look at it or anything for so long was so triggering, and now it's really nice. Now it actually feels like special and nice.
Yeah. At what point did it all start to change? Yeah.
My hair was always very thin. My hair was never really my thing.
Okay.
But still, I mean, a woman's hair is her sense of self and everything, and especially around that time where you're trying to start navigating the world as like a 15-year-old. You think you're 32, but you're not, you're 15. So it started happening in and around that time. I found a little bald patch at the back of my head, thought nothing of it, but it was like sticky bald. It was like literally not a hair, not a follicle there. It was the most bizarre kind of feeling.
Completely smooth patch.
Your mind goes into overdrive. Did I burn it? Did my brother shave me? You just start thinking random shit, because I had no idea this term alopecia. I had never heard of ever, really. So it was really kind of from that point that things started to change in terms of my hair. I look back at that 15-year-old and she was under physical stress, and I think she suppressed emotion so much. So I think in terms of an autoimmune condition, and I just started my periods too, and I happened to be really underweight. It was like the most perfect concoction that if something was going to tip, it would have tipped then. It just gradually got worse and worse and worse, and I got a weave, and maybe my hair was all destined to go. But it pulled out everything. That just pulled out everything. And then I was totally hair-free just on my head for around, I'm going to say 5-6 years, and then the eyebrows and eyelashes started to go, and that was more than anything. I think my eyebrows were my thing. They were these huge, big, bushy fellas, and when they went, I was I was devastated. Yeah, that was horrendous. That was horrendous.
Yeah. So just for the viewers at home, the eyebrows that you can see now, they're tattoos, right?
I draw them on. I draw these on myself every day.
Do you? So they're not tattoos?
I did get tattooed once. I got microblading, and it's come along such a long way.
Okay.
But no, I prefer drawing mine on. So these are drawn on every day.
How do you draw them on? That's so
I can teach you.
Yeah, teach me. I think we should start brunette and gradually go blonde.
Love it.
Yeah.
Great idea. Well, I'm going to put this weird thing on my head, so I'll talk this through first. So we're doing brunettes.
Now, you gave me one of these recently because I put a couple of your wigs on Davina for the Masked Singer, so you can go and have a look at that on our Instagram account. And I didn't know what I was doing with this. I was like, I didn't know which way it went on or anything. I was like, does the sticky bit go here or there?
Lots of the wigs that I'll be trying on today are wigs that you can wear without glue or tape.
Great, okay.
Because I think for your average woman, mornings we're busy, we've shit to do. The idea of kind of gluing or taping something down is just a little bit too much in our days. It's a wig grip, so it allows the wig to really just secure onto the head without any kind of extra help, glues or tapes. You look like a mad woman in it, but anyway, we move on. It's on wrong if your ears are kind of doing a little bit of this. Okay. So you're kind of just like pushing it back a little bit, and that should be good. Also, what I found when women are going through hair loss for any kind, especially chemotherapy, their scalp's irritated, it's sore, so even though our wigs are super delicate on the scalp, it is something on. There's a material on it, so it also acts as a grip, but also like a barrier. Let's do this. This is just like nice lobby brunette, and I'll kind of talk through the lace as well.
And you use the word lobby there.
Oh yeah.
This is a long bob phrase, is that right?
Yeah, long bob. If one was to then wear this wig in life, this lace here would be cut back, but basically this lace is essentially how the makers sew the hair into. So that's like their playing field.
Okay.
Is the lace is their canvas, and then the hair is their
stitch
tool.
into it.
Yeah. So I'll stop chatting and put it on so you can see. I might just need the mirror in here. And also where it's placed is a huge thing. If a woman has it too far forward, it looks awful, and also too far back. Also, it makes it look like you have a bit of a dodgy forehead. So it's kind of like those things you get to learn of what kind of really kind of suits you, I guess. And so, of course, with this, for example, this lace, you would always cut back, but for today, we can kind of just keep it in.
And then you'd cut it back, I guess, what, half a centimetre in front of the hairline?
I'd always leave a little bit because it's lace, it's a fine material, so that in time will fray. And if you want to add more extra baby hairs, things like that as well, it kind of just allows you to do it.
And is there a technique of blending the netting in or the webbing in a bit? You put a bit of glue on there or a bit of hairspray?
You can do. The whole intention is, especially if you kind of get it in the right position, it should just kind of blend in naturally. But if you really want it to really blend in, a little bit of, got to be spray or got to be glue.
The hairspray.
Putting that a little bit of tacking around the front can be super helpful as well. So there's a few things that one can do to kind of really make it look super natural, but you should be able to just whack it on and it to look 100% okay and feel 100% secure and just feel that like it's good to go, But again, like you're using heat, anything, you need to try and get your head around, even though it might feel alien and weird, that this can and will become your new hair in a sense. Bear in mind, this hair has been through a lot. It's hair that's been, we use Asian hair, so that's been dyed and it's been in the most healthy way, but it needs nutrition. It's not getting nutrients from your scalp, right?
People are a bit worried, aren't they? That it's like, what do I use on extensions or what do I mean, as long as it's real hair, you could use stuff that...
Yeah, totally. That's kind of more for the damaged hair space. And then, you wash it in a sink. We've lots of guides and tips on our website. But that's the thing with me, why I started this business was, yes, to get beautiful wigs, but to actually like guide them through it. Because you get this like, bring this home, this new baby, this wig. Now what do I do with this? Just sitting here, what do I do? So we're really there to just help with all those key things. The first time you wash her, if you start to panic, can you tie her up? All those kind of key things, we're there to kind of help.
And it's so nice. Come on.
You haven't even looked. Looks cool. See, you always make it look so much better.
And these little blonde bits as well, they're put in presumably before you get the wig.
We kind of colour these by hand in the UK. They're made abroad.
Really? Okay,
But then all the finessing, like all the hairlines, all the colour.
It all happens here.
Yeah, everything that makes it really special is done here, which is cool. So
yes, absolutely brilliant.
Also, they're so easy to take off as well. That's another thing. People are like, are they really easy to pop on and take off? As you can see, it takes like 2 seconds.
And this is like a slightly sticky band here.
It's like silicone.
And that's what grips onto it.
Also, women ask, are they hot? Are they itchy? Are they X and are they Y? It's going to take a second to get used to something being put on your head. Of course it is. It's going to be this different experience. But they they are super lightweight, and of all the wigs that are out there, they have weft, so they allow airflow. The lace is lightweight, so it kind of allows for
the scalp
ventilation.
to breathe, you know. Yeah.
But I would never say it's going to be so, you know, it's going to be hotter in the sun. For me now, because I don't wear my wigs that often in the summertime, it's really hot. So I tend to wear a scarf, for example, when I'm in the summertime. But other women don't have that luxury, and they need their wig, which I empathise with because I was like that for years. So it's getting used to it.
I must get 30 to 40 messages a day of people suffering with some kind of hair loss issue. Some of it paranoia, I can tell, and some of it just excessive shedding. But then other people with quite serious kind of hair loss situations.
Sometimes people see me and they can get really scared. You know, sometimes when people are in a shedding phase or just the beginning of a hair loss bout, they'll look at me and be like, oh shit, am I going to end up looking like you? I think that could be such a fear around that, and I actually can be quite confronting for people. I am the most rare and the most niche, just to say.
Yes, because one of the things I'll often say to people is that you just don't see bald women walking around, like, so relax, you know, that's not going to happen. And then all of a sudden you turn up and I'm like, okay, so there's one, I've seen one.
For me, it was, it started off as alopecia areata. So that's just small patches. It's obviously my immune system thinking that my hair is bad for me, essentially, so it's just killing it. No practitioner, no person really knows with all certainty it's going to be okay, because they don't know it's going to be okay, and there is no cure for it. So my body was under a lot of physical stress. So I think I was dancing and just exuding so much energy, and I just wasn't fueling my body enough. I was just literally coming into the time of hitting puberty.
How long was that journey? So like at 15 it started to really happen. And then when was the point you lost all of it? How long did that take?
I'm going to say 2 years, a year and a half, around that space. And then I think 3 years after that, I was living as a woman in wigs, had my eyebrows and eyelashes, and then the eyebrows and eyelashes fully went as well. In between this time, I had managed to keep modelling. I remember coming to London, I had moved all my stuff, I'd moved to Wilston Green, I had like my life in my suitcases, and I came ready to like start my career as a full-time model. My dream since I was a little girl, I was doing Naomi Campbell walking since I was 8. I was just obsessed with the idea of being...
I've done Naomi Campbell's hair.
Oh my God.
It's terrifying.
Is she? I say so. And I moved and I came to the agency that day, and this is when my eyebrows and eyelashes were falling, and they dropped me and they said, actually, this isn't going to be for us. And I was devastated. I think that was a real moment of, just
quite brutal, isn't it, for them?
Well, I look back then at the fashion industry compared to what it is now, and there was no room for anything different. They could have had, I wore blonde wigs at the time, they could have a blonde hair, freckly, big eyebrow girl like replacing me in a second.
You're actually a bit of a gift for a modelling agency in the sense that we got a long blonde model, it's like, yep. It's got a short brunette, yep. This one with grey hair, yep.
Yeah,
you know.
I think now that's a wonderful thing, but I think it was so new then, and it was still so scary for them then, and it was never a conversation of, you know, shall we do it without the wig? This is more of like a bob style. You know, for years and years and years, I used to wear blonde hair, and now I feel so much more comfortable in like darker colors. But I remember I was like, the blonder, literally the better when I was younger. Every wig needs like a little bit of zhuzh.
Yes.
I always say that. And take it for a brilliant cut.
Yes.
Take it for a style. Do something with it to make it yours, you know?
I think there's a sense that you need to go and see a wig specialist to somehow, but that's not really the case. You just want a very confident hairdresser, presumably. Right?
Confident hairdresser who, if they have experience cutting wigs, that's totally cool too. For any wig, having someone you trust who knows what to do with it, that's good.
There's a little shorter bit here. Put a little bend in there. We've got this new device coming out in January. So if you're watching this before January 2025, this is not available.
It's coming.
Right, it's coming. It's going to be the MD London curl. Yeah.
I am really shite with styling, but this will be super helpful. The only thing I do is kind of put bends in hair, because I think overstyled hair, especially in a wig, that's what makes it look wiggy, right?
Yes, exactly, yes. I mean, you know, we're not even going to put a curl in. I just want to emphasise this little fringe bit by literally, like you said, just putting a bend in it, really. And I always love this idea where you just get a little faux fringe almost here as a result of putting that kind of bend in it. You know? I
also think, especially for first-time wig wearers or women who are anyway nervous of the lace showing or anything like that, having a side fringe, bangs, a fringe, or just having something a little bit messier in and around the front makes a massive, massive difference, because you can literally like disguise it.
Yes.
Anything, you know. I compare wig shopping to wedding dress shopping in a lot of ways.
Okay, yeah.
You know, when the person tries on the one, you can see their whole body just like relax and like chill out, you know, which is not always the case.
I did, as you know, you gave me a little short blonde wig for Davina, so we did that on her on the Masked Singer. But as soon as we put that on, you know, we were like, what has happened? You know, it was absolutely brilliant.
What was her, I'll try on some blondie ones now. What was her energy like when she had the blonde one on? Did you notice? Because you obviously know her so well.
Yeah. I mean, you literally slightly become a different person, I think, don't you? You become the type of person that would have short blonde hair, you know. So yes, it was just very, very funny. And then all the reactions, you know, when she walks out in front of the audience of, you know, 400 or 500 people, it was like, ah!
That's so cool.
And then there's that exchange of energy at that point. So it's just brilliant, really, you know. If you could imagine your life with hair, would you have it?
Interesting question. I would love it for a day. I'd love it. I'd love, because I can't remember what it's like. Like I can't remember. Yeah, I think for a day or a week. Let's give you a week with hair. But
presumably you are who you are because of
it.
this experience. And are you happy about that?
Yeah. 100%. Yes.
Well, that's probably the day you let go, really, isn't it? At what point did you go, do you know what? I'm just going to be me.
You know what? It's an ever-evolving thing. But really, I felt a real shift for me in my life. I'd say around 6-7 years ago, I started having panic attacks. And I had never had that before. I always kind of thought I was quite level-headed, quite easygoing. And it was almost like my body trying to tell me, Amber, wake up, feel something, do something. Because I don't think I'd ever really dealt with anything, because I think with the alopecia I learned that coping strategy so well to push down, that I was pushing down everything. Shit relationships, shit partners, family shit, whatever you name it, everything was just kind of sitting. And that's just at one point when I met my husband Benjamin, who's the love of my life. He's amazing.
I love Benjamin.
You know, we love Benjamin. I think he finally gave me the space and allowed me to feel safe, so I could actually feel. That's when all the kind of panic started really coming. So it was really facing those demons and facing the fears and facing everything that I kind of pushed down. So that was really the turning point to like start finding out who I was. My 15-year-old heaven would have now it's kind of like, but in saying that, I do find it so funny when I have different wigs on, how people take me in as a person is so different. Like if I was boning about town like this, who talks to me, who sees me, different, especially like a male gaze, interestingly, a different kind of man. Perhaps it's not obvious, but I can, perhaps also I'm feeling it too, because I'm feeling different. So then what I'm putting out there, you know yourself, it's kind of a whole thing. I know for a fact I wouldn't have met my Ben. If I'd rocked into that bar wearing this wig, he would not have come up to me. I know it. As much as he'd say, oh, don't be silly, I know he wouldn't. And he's the love of my life, and I couldn't be happier.
Wow, that's an amazing realization. I know. Isn't it?
How weird how these biases that we have is all down to do with the color of our skin. We know it, but the color of our hair is like it's the thing. When we speak of wigs as a whole, obviously they can be your armor, your safety, your thing to give you joy and confidence, but they can also be a way to challenge yourself or to try something new, take a risk, take a leap.
Well, that's what all the kind of personal growth is, isn't it? It's in all the places you don't want to go. And as soon as you go there, you think, my God, this is terrifying. But as a result, you grow or expand or develop. When I saw you on Instagram, I could see like what you'd been through literally by just watching you for a minute. And I was like, oh my God, I got to get to know this woman. Like, wow, you know, you've got something really valuable to share with everybody. The amount of people that will watch this and just kind of that might just want to buy a wig anyway, and then lots of people who, you know, are suffering, and then we can say, well, these are the options and this is what it costs and this is how to do it. It's actually a lot easier than you'd think.
I think people also have this idea around wigs and what they are, and it's still so old-fashioned in people's minds, and I love being able to share and explore, and they've just come on so much, and they can be such a joyous thing.
You're wearing a wig and it's not a lie.
Yeah.
It's just like wearing some clothes, really, isn't it? You have to think about it like that. When you put clothes on, you're not fibbing anybody about what you're doing. It's just like,
Totally.
oh, I'm just wearing this for a bit, and it expresses this about me.
That's what hair is at the end of the day. It's just an expression of who you are. And for me, you know, I always say it's my hair. I bought it, so it's mine. So it's like it brings out different parts of you.
Yeah.
And it could be really wonderful. And it's the same as makeup and hair.
Yeah,
So
the closer you can get to yourself, the happier you start to feel. And the way you do that really is by experimenting with yourself, isn't it? By the relationships you have with people tell you a lot about yourself. But the types of clothes you try on and the hairstyles you have and all the rest of it. And eventually you reach a point where you know yourself.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking wonderful that people can do that. And I've experienced that, and I've seen it in people, and I can see it in you as well. Try and get close to yourself. It's a joy.
a short wig can look really old-fashioned, or it can be made look really cool.
I know what you mean, yeah.
So I kind of thought with your magical hands, we can make it look cool and trendy.
Oh, wow.
Really fun, but then again, without any sprucing, it can look a little bit old-fashioned-ish.
Right, so we can wet it down a bit and play around with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's have a play. So I've managed to shift the parting a little bit now. Is the parting like sewn in, or do you just have them all coming forwards? Or?
You can, but the great thing about these, you can set the partings anywhere. You just need to kind of wet it and then use some heat, like you would with normal hair.
Yes, Some
wigs can be more stubborn than others, of course.
A lot of people don't realise this, is that once your hair has been styled dry, you can't really change the style to break it down with water, don't you? Like, a lot of people don't realise that. They just like kind of think, why can't I push my hair over here? And it's like, once the parting is dried into the hair, it is there until water attacks it. So water is the enemy of all hairstyles, really. So if you want to shift the parting, whether it's in a wig or your own hair, you really have to wet it first and then shift the parting.
We tend to kind of put them in a centre parting because it's the most thing to do. And people are like, can I part it anywhere? And you're like, yes, don't worry, just think about your own hair. How would you do it? But again, people have spent a lot of money and investment in this piece. They're nervous. Right?
Yes.
They're nervous to put heat. They're nervous to cut it. They're nervous to do anything. Having these conversations hopefully will allow people to not be so delicate with them and know that you can play with it just like you would your own hair, you know. So
I've just put some water on there. I've not put anything else on it because we don't really need it. You can style hair, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, with just water. All the styling product does really is prolong the life of the style that you've made. It doesn't do anything with regards to styling the hair. You do that. So we're just going to waft your hair and blow it around a little bit.
You can go into a hairdresser's if you want with your wig, with it on, and be like, blow dry it.
Yeah, blow dry it.
Do something nice.
Something with it. Yeah,
you can do that.
Hairdressers are terrified of wigs. You know, I get that a lot. Can you do wigs? I'm like, yeah, but so can you. You know, like it's just hair on someone's head. Very many bristles, so you don't get too much tension on the hair. One of the problems, if you've got loads of bristles, it grips the hair really well, and then it could start to pull the wig this way and that way. So kind of less bristles the better, really, when you're It's so nice how it just literally goes one way or the other. The amount of people that would come in with a picture of a hairstyle like this and want it, but their hair won't do it.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just brilliant, really.
They can just be such a wonderful way to try things that you've never tried before as well.
The hair behaves so well.
I think because it's Asian hair and it's slightly a little bit more coarse and not as fine as European hair. European hair, it's incredibly expensive, mad expensive, and also in terms of the ethics behind sourcing European hair is a little bit ropey. With Asian hair, it's a little bit coarser, you can do more with it. They feel so delicate and soft, and it just means that you can place it into a position and it actually holds. And a lot of times that's a good thing that it's a little bit thicker.
Who's cut and coloured this one for you?
The girls who work at my space.
Really?
Yeah.
They've done a really good job.
Yeah.
It's really nice. The colour's so nice, but the way they've texturised all the hair here and everything.
Weirdly, the main thing for me that makes me feel uncomfortable is shocking people. To say we didn't know each other and I came in with my red wig on and you said to me, your hair is so nice. And you might be giving me lots of attention on how nice my hair is. But then the next day you see me, I'll have no hair. And then seeing you trying to navigate what to say to me, and that kind of uncomfortable feeling of like being found out still sits in me. It's people who I don't care about. It's like the corner shop man. Why do I care what he thinks? But for some bizarre reason, I do. So for now, for example, I make choices in my life. I'll go in hair free, so there's no surprises.
It's a fascinating journey, and it'd be mad if you hadn't experienced it, wouldn't it? You know, it's not like you can get prescribed from a doctor like how to feel better about this. You have to learn, and it somehow comes from outside and then inside. You know,
it's like that lived experience, and it's not easy, and it's like each day there's different things to think of, but it's definitely gotten so much better. And I can happily say that I love who I am, and I'm so happy. When we spoke about before about kind of different colors being more comfortable with each kind of woman, like this is like my happy place, my happy zone. I think also because for years of wearing blonde wigs and wanting to be as Barbie as possible. And also when I spoke about Benjamin in my life, kind of coming back to me and finding out who I was, the kind of red hair was almost a part of this in a way, like the kind of auburn way. So now it kind of just feels like an embodiment of me. So yeah, let's see what you think. Also, I always kind of like, let me just make sure that's on correctly.
Wow.
I think I need a little bit more layering around the front. I normally have a little bit more, but needs a little bit more.
Yeah, well, should we give it a little? Should we give it a little trim?
Do you mind?
Oh, don't mind at all. No,
this
no.
Be my personal
pleasure. Yeah.
I'd love that. What do you think of the colour?
I mean, it instantly makes you look really healthy. Like you're so warm all of a sudden in the face. It's probably the best colour on you, I think.
Yeah.
Not that the others aren't good on you. It's just that like they do a different thing to you, don't they? Let me go and get a gown and my scissors.
Thank you. Ooh. Perfect.
How do you maintain your scalp?
Generally speaking, I've been really fortunate in terms of my scalp. I've never had any kind of massive irritation, whereas a lot of the time alopecia comes along with psoriasis. It does get rashy and it does get itchy. That's one thing I get asked quite a lot too. If you have a wig stuck on your head 24/7.
Yes, your scalp can't breathe very well.
Yeah. At the end of every night, taking your wig off, giving your head a really stimulating massage, lathering it up with really lovely oils or moisturizer. I just use the same moisturizer I use on my skin.
Your face, I mean, people don't realise that the scalp is just skin.
You don't have to wash wigs very often. You'll know when they need a wash when they start to feel stiff and dry.
And a bit smelly.
And smelly, of course. It won't get greasy, so don't be looking out for that. We always say, you know, once every 3 weeks is totally fine.
And then I noticed you've got products to go with your wigs.
Yeah.
So what have you got in the range?
So we have a shampoo, a mask, and a tape and glue removal spray. When I was taping my wigs down, always having to then get alcohol, disgusting spray that smelt, and having to spray that all over my scalp to remove my wig. So I thought it'd be a really nice idea to kind of create something that removes the tape, but it smells nice and it's not so abrasive on the scalp. When I was going through it, I never felt seen just because my hair was falling out. Does that not mean I still want to be the chic young woman that I am? Why do I have to not feel in any way special? And when you're in that phase of hair loss, you don't have a lot of choice and you feel totally out of control. So being able to choose whether you're going to go hair free that day, you're going to wear a scarf that day, or that wig that day, that's something that you're getting to choose. And I think having that power back in your hands can be a really lovely thing.
When you met Benji, at what point did you tell him you were wearing a wig?
The past few previous partners I'd been with, they kind of all knew before I met
you
them.
kind of knew.
But with Ben, he didn't know. He knew nothing. He literally just saw an auburn-haired woman at a bar, liked the look of her, and came up and said hello.
Smooth.
Little did he know that I was an egghead. But I think on our first date, I said to him, "Oh, I have alopecia." So I kind of just left it like a lingering state. Didn't say anything, didn't go into detail, didn't say I was fully hair free or anything. And interestingly, Benjamin didn't ask about it. He kind of just let it go. And then it was a couple of months later, Ben went by himself to Budapest. I was texting him all these recommendations because I was filming there a couple of years previously. So I was saying to him, "Oh, you must go to this restaurant, and I hadn't heard back from him, and I was like, "Okay, strange. I'm sure I'll see him when he gets home." Anyway, comes home. We were meant to have this date. We were going into central London to go for sushi. We had this like lovely date planned, and he arrived at my flat and he said, "Amber, I think can we have dinner at home in your flat tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, fine." And he came up the stairs and he had like a baseball cap on, a hood on, and his face like looked a bit swollen. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Have you been in a fight?
Yeah.
What's going on? He goes, sit down, I haven't been completely honest with you. And I was like, okay, what is this man who I'm really starting to like? What's he going to tell me? This is probably like 3 weeks into us dating, maybe 4 weeks, I guess. And he sat me down and he was like, you know, the way you told me about your alopecia on our first date, I wasn't really brave enough to tell you, but I have alopecia as well. It's just a different type to yours. And I was like, sorry, what? And he was like, yeah. That was a huge moment of being like, what the hell? How is it even possible? And he was off abroad getting a treatment for his hair.
Really?
And so he came back, and that was the day after he had his hair transplant. And his mum and sister were like, don't go and see her, you look mental, because obviously your hair.
He's had a transplant?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is unbelievable.
I know. So his parents, his mum and his sister were like, don't go, you look a bit crazy. You've just met her. What if she'd like, you know, they were obviously being so protective of him. But if anything, that moment he came over to my home and was so open and honest, and we had that bit of like an experience together. It was like, what the hell? So weird. Now
this is amazing.
Curly, beautiful locks.
Really? The transplant was a success.
It bloody worked.
They're bloody good, aren't they? I've seen some really good ones.
Yeah, I remember with every partner, but especially with Benj, I think I was with him 6 months before he got to see my head.
Okay.
I think for me, someone seeing that, it's going to sound a bit vulgar, but it's almost like it's so much more intimate than sex or anything. The most.
You're really exposing yourself, aren't you? Yeah.
Previous fellas who I wasn't even that much more in love with, they happened quicker because they were so forceful.
Yeah.
I think Benjamin was so respectful about it.
Yeah.
The other guys were just egging me on constantly. I kind of just did it to shut them up. I did it to shut them up, to be honest. You do obviously have the fear that they won't like it or they'll think of it, but they always, Ben just kissed it and said, love you no matter what, and that was it. It's gorgeous.
We love you, Benji.
Love you, Ben.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. It looks so
much
nice,
better,
isn't it? Yeah, it's great. I mean, we've cut hair off it. Well, it looks like we've added hair to it. You know, it looks great.
The thing is, having that framing around the face just makes such a massive difference, isn't it?
Let's say, for instance, somebody wants long hair, but they want to put it up or something like that and make a little hairstyle out of it. How easy or difficult is that?
So easy. When I'm doing this, again, why I like having some of those baby hairs
at the front
down like this, because genuinely with the wigs, the messier the better. Slick back buns, not ideal. I never really recommend those. But you can literally just...
Oh my God, that's so nice, isn't it?
I'm obviously not, I don't have magical hands like you, Michael, but as in, then down the back, making sure the nape isn't exposed.
Oh, okay.
Getting a bit of this, pulling down a little bit, so you can just like whack it up, so hopefully you can see.
Oh my God, it looks brilliant.
It's just chilled. So, you know, people always think with wigs that you can't do that. When you absolutely can. You can do half up, half down. You can kind of do less 90s style.
Or a bun or something. But like you say, the looser the better, isn't it? It looks more realistic.
Totally. Then it just comes down easily like that. And you're good to go.
Slide this off.
Yeah.
Can I just say a huge thank you to you for coming in and doing this, and how brilliant it is that you shared this story, not just with me but with everyone that's watching, and just how helpful I think it's going to be. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
So appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me and all your ongoing support. It's just amazing to be a part of it, so thank you.
Total pleasure.
I didn't really know what to expect coming in today because I haven't had anyone in a long time being able to like put their hands through the wigs and be able to kind of have the deep chats around them, really, especially with someone like Michael, who is such an amazing, talented hairdresser. So it was just wonderful to be able to have his opinion, to be able to talk everything about wigs. It's like my dream to be able to chat wigs all day with a lovely bloke and have him cut my beautiful wig that I'm wearing out tonight. Was just a real blessing to be able to have him do that. It's interesting that every single time I talk about it and with someone new as well, different things come up, different things I haven't thought about in a long time, and how I kind of view things can shift and change a bit as well. So that's always really interesting to kind of note that in yourself when you're speaking, how things have shifted and how they feel. It was wonderful. It was a great day. What's also really helpful about this conversation, hopefully, is to be able to speak openly about hair loss. As we talked about in the conversation, nearly every woman and man will go through some form of hair loss in their life. So speaking about it's a really important thing, and to be able to normalize it as much as possible, and to know that as much as it's shite and it's really difficult and it's challenging, that there is things out there that you can do, and there's people like Michael and myself that you can come and see to kind of make it less taboo rehabilitating and less scary, I guess. And also when it comes to wigs, you know, my true mission in life is to really change people's perspective around them, and for them to feel like it's okay and they're not hiding anything, and that they can be a beautiful, fun thing, and they can be a wonderful necessity in your life if it needs to be that way. And yeah, I think we were one step further in doing that today, just having open, honest chats about hair loss and wigs and that whole world, which can be a really confusing one. So yeah, it was awesome.